Now we entered into a position here that's still currently in profit right now. Looking to see if our original take profit can get hit, and if not, we're only risking 1% on this trade today. So let's see. We already hit a 1-to-1 RR. Let's see if this trade can continue up for about a 1 to 2.5 to 1 to 3 on this position. Overall, today we're going to go over this entire position that we caught and sent to the CYPRX students with an analysis ahead of the curve. That played out with a 1 to 6 RR. So I hope you guys enjoy this video breakdown. Absolutely phenomenal trade analysis, making sure that you're being patient, allowing the market to come to your areas of interest. So let's jump into the charts.
I could show you how to fight them. I could show you how to defeat
Alrighty, so the 6:30 alarm just went off. We got up earlier this morning. We traded a little bit of New York session. Try not to sit and look at the charts when I'm in a trade, so it's time to get up, get the day started, brush teeth, make some coffee, and then we'll go head over to the charts.
The world has been broke down. The world is just announced. The final time is now. The final time to bow. But I will not get down. For you can't force me now. Awakening is clear. I could show you how. I could show you how to fight them.
Alrighty, now that that's all done, let's go check this trade that we placed this morning during the beginning of New York session before I laid back down in bed. Seems to be going well so far. Alrighty, so before we make some coffee, just come over here to the charts real quick. Currently, this is the position that we're floating in right now. You guys can see my MetaTrader currently sitting at about 32 pips in profit. Not too bad. This morning on GJ, we're looking for the market to come and tap out these equal highs on the lower time frame. So in today's video breakdown, after I make some coffee real quick, we'll go into this deep dive on the analysis that we sent to the CYPRX students, catching this 1 to 6 trade right here, and then alongside giving you guys an analysis breaking down in full this trade that we placed this morning during the beginning of New York session. So let's go make some coffee real quick. So yeah, in the mornings, personally, I like to have my coffee. I try not to drink it every morning, but I fast the first half of the day. So I usually don't eat until like noon or 1 p.m. So drinking black coffee and green tea really sets the pace for me to not focus on my hunger throughout the day. If you all are coffee advocates, I highly suggest you all get this Expression machine. It's dope.
The world has been broke down. The world is just announced. The final time is now. The final time to bow. But I will not get down. For you can't force me now.
Alrighty, coffee's done. Let's head over to the charts, check up on this trade, so that way we can give you guys a full technical analysis breakdown on GBP JPY. All right, so heading over to the charts, the trade looks good so far. We said that we were looking for the market to come and take out these equal highs that were created on the lower time frame prior to the beginning of New York session. That is now coming to fruition. So my profit margin has been hit. This trade is now fully closed. I will go over this full entire technical analysis breakdown and the analysis that we sent to the CYPRX students. Hope that you guys enjoyed this little tiny video breakdown. Smash that thumbs up button. Make sure that you're subscribed. Let's head into the charts. Alrighty, let's go over the first trade breakdown and the first analysis that I sent to the CYPRX students. This was last week in our private GBP JPY group chat, just so that way you all can see that we do send our analysis out to the CYPRX students ahead of the curve. This is a screenshot showing a potential area of interest that the market makers could push price back up into if held above these two psychological levels. We'll get into that in just 1 second. You guys can see the analysis where price action was at. Heading over to the charts real fast, you guys can see that that price action to the T has come into fruition, right? A major drop down into these psychological levels. Roughly the psych levels that we were giving to the students at the time were the 162.500. So we'll go ahead and we'll mark that off so you guys can see. And I'll read the full analysis to you all in just 1 second. We held above that area very nicely. Now, Friday during non-farm payroll last week, we scaled into a position, which I showed you guys this morning. We'll go over to that entry in just 1 second, giving you guys some of the confluences that we were looking at as to why we were taking this trade. Now, coming into this week's price action, we were able to hold this trade over the weekend and capitalize on a 1 to 6 during yesterday's Asia session. So that was absolutely phenomenal to see play out alongside of the analysis sent to the students. So let's go over the first trade breakdown, and then we'll go over to the second one from today's specific trading session. So real fast, my GJ analysis, again, sent to the students ahead of the curve. I said, currently on the higher time frame, I would love to see a pullback from last week's bullish rally so I can get in on buying opportunities. Therefore, if price can stay above the 161.800 to 161.9, I'll be looking for higher targets of 165.500. And you guys can see where price action is currently at now, almost at the 165.500 to the T. I'll go ahead and show you all right here. Okay. Now, again, remember when I sent this analysis out to the students, you guys can see in the live market where price action was at, showing them that I was expecting a pullback down specifically into the 162.500 psych level and a potential reversal from that level. And you guys can see now going over that, right? Where price action is at, our first overall area of interest, the 165.500, almost to the T. Okay. Now, let's jump into the lower time frame, showing you guys how we were able to scale into this position. Let's get rid of all of this. I hate when the drawings are too crowded on my charts. So down here in this area, that specific psychological level that I sent to the CYPRX students, the 162.500, you guys can see that right here. We're going to talk about how price reacted to that and how during Friday's session last week, we were able to scale into positions during non-farm payroll, right? So here we can see the CYPRX pattern. This is 2 New York sessions prior to the session where we caught this trade. Paying attention to bullish order flow and setting up areas of interest, understanding that market makers are not going to sell low on the higher time frame. They're going to buy at lower prices on the higher time frame to push price back up into premium areas to potentially take sells from. How to pay attention to that? By understanding what bullish order flow looks like, what market maker manipulation looks like, and how to capitalize on those price swings in the market on the lower time frame. Okay. So prior to this New York session, again, we were trading this New York session. We sent the analysis out to the students when price was all the way up here, and we were looking for price to hold above the 162.500. So now let's go into detail on how we were able to capitalize on identifying areas of interest and what patterns we were seeing in the market to give ourselves confluences that the market was going to reverse and turn back around to the upside. Okay. So the CYPRX pattern that we attempt to teach you guys to pay attention to is when the market maker set up lows, sweep those lows from the market, and then start to create bullish order flow after the market makers have manipulated price. So here during this Asia session, we can see that we have a failure swing low in the market or a higher low in the market that then turned into a higher high, higher low continuation. You guys can see here a pre-engineered low in the market, a manipulative tactic to come and sweep the liquidity out from any early buyers in this area that were guessing a market reversal from this potential area. The market makers completely matching bullish momentum from the previous bearish momentum. You guys can see here, bearish manipulative tactic, bullish momentum to equal out all of the bears in the market. Again, showing buyers' interest picking up, and then a failure swing low in the market coming into fruition, driving price higher. This is now the definition of bullish order flow. Price holding above our psychological level areas of interest that, again, we sent to the CYPRX students ahead of the curve, the 162.500 right here, okay? And creating higher lows above them. So now a bearish perspective must be switched from a bullish perspective. Why? Because the market makers are not making new lows in the market, which is the definition of bearish order flow, or lower lows, lower highs, and lower low continuational patterns, okay? The market makers are now showing us that they have interest in grabbing liquidity from highs, okay? Or taking price higher, failing to break market structure lows, and instead creating higher lows, right? So this is now bullish order flow. Something that we attempt to teach our students is to trade in tandem with the order flow of the market makers. Well, here, if we're seeing market makers manipulate lows, create bullish price action, higher high, higher low, higher high formations, why trade against that? So coming into this New York session, we see the same market maker patterns. Now let's talk about, after we've identified that we are in a bullish environment, okay, respecting bullish order flow, how we identified areas of interest to get those sniper entries here at CYPRX. And the same tactic that we used for this position here, we used for this position as well. That's paying attention to where bank and institutions bought from previous days or previous sessions, highlighting those areas of interest after the market makers manipulated price and create, in a bullish environment, higher lows that drove price higher, and then waiting for price to come back into those areas of interest to then buy price from a discount where market makers are most likely inclined to buy from. Why? Because we know that market makers are most likely going to buy from areas of interest where they bought from in previous trading days. So here, this is the New York session prior to the Friday session. So this is Thursday's New York session. Let's focus in on this area. So during the beginning of the manipulation window for New York session, again, I'm not going to give you guys those specific times. Those are saved for the CYPRX students that are enrolled in our course content. But just to show you guys a general overview of where that area is, we do not trade this price action. We attempt to wait for the markets to break out of this manipulation box, okay? Now, after the market breaks out of this manipulation box, again, that same pattern that we talked about here, which is this pattern, a pre-engineered low in the market, a manipulative move to liquidate the low here in the market, a break in market structure, and a higher low that comes in after, identifying that this is the area of interest where market makers facilitated orders at, and extending that over to the right-hand side, and then waiting for price action to eventually come back down into that area before we become buyers again. This is what we're looking for during this specific trading day, okay? So let's focus in. Here you guys can see that exact same pattern. Now, every single trading day, it's going to look different. It's not always going to look the same, but having the ability to identify this specific pattern in the market has given us an edge. So here, during the manipulation window, we can see equal lows that were pre-engineered into the market. Again, an area of liquidity for the market makers to set up a trap. We'll go ahead and we'll change that template to our equal low template, right? The market makers, as soon as they break out of that manipulation window, liquidate those lows. And then what comes in after that? Same pattern that we had before, where the market makers right here created a what? A failure swing low. This is now a higher low in the market, and we have to consider it as such. Well, same thing here. The market failed here to break all of this previous market structure and instead created a higher low in the market that led to a new structural high in the market that broke all this previous bearish price action, okay? So again, if we zoom out, even though we're on the lower time frame, look at this bullish order flow. We're continuously seeing higher lows in the market that lead to higher highs, that lead to pullbacks, or higher lows in the market that lead to higher high formations. Again, manipulative tactics on the lower time frame that lead to higher highs and higher low formations, okay? So what we're attempting to do is show you all that we trade in tandem with the order flow of the market. Now, specifically, how do we get our area of interest? Well, here at CYPRX, we always, and what we've been preaching to you guys on the YouTube channel, what we attempt to do here at CYPRX is pay attention to that higher low that comes in after the sweep of liquidity that sends price higher, breaking all previous bearish market structure. So if I was to go ahead and highlight this higher low from the candlestick bodies down to the wick and extend this over to the right-hand side, you guys can see where we were buying at during Friday's session when non-farm payroll came out, and it's just so happened that it came out at a time efficiency paradigm. Again, and the CYPRX 3.0 content and the CYPRX course material, something that we give to the students. You guys can see 5:30 on the dot, the market makers, what do? They drop straight down into that area of interest, solidifying what we attempt to teach you all is that market makers like to buy at a discount from where they bought from during previous market sessions. And you guys can see that higher low that came in after the manipulative tactic that swept these equal lows where market makers drove price higher, continuing this bullish order flow, breaking all previous bearish market structure here in this area and liquidating this previous high. You guys can see that the market makers were just continuing this bullish order flow to the upside, right? So this was last Friday's trade. Absolutely phenomenal. Hopefully with all these arrows, you guys just didn't get too confused. So utilizing the same exact tactics, think about what we just taught you all, how to pay attention to generate areas of interest in the market where you could potentially be a buyer or seller from. Well, right now we're in a bullish environment. So what we're attempting to do is highlight areas of interest where previous session market makers were buying from to continue the bullish trend to the upside. So that way we're not buying at tops and we're getting in at a discount where previous market makers bought from. Utilizing those same tactics, going over the trade from today. Okay, I just want to show you all again, avoiding the manipulative window here at CYPRX that we have designed for the CYPRX students to say, okay, look, this is where the majority of the manipulation happens. Well, this is when we sit on our hands and we wait. What we attempt to do here is identify liquidity to give us a solid reason as to why the market makers could potentially be targeting a certain area. Well, the first reason here we have to start to generate a list of confluences is early sellers prior to the New York session existing above these highs. Another thing that we know here at CYPRX is the market makers are not going to buy from highs. We'll look at where price gets passed during this New York session at a high in comparison to the previous London session where they were buying from down here in this general vicinity at these lows. Now, to redefine this again, what do we want to be paying attention to? Let's scale down to the 1 minute chart to show you guys how we were able to generate our areas of interest. Again, paying attention to this pattern, a low pre-engineered into the market, a manipulative tactic to come and clear out those lows, knowing that on the higher time frame, we are in a bullish environment. So trading in tandem with that, making sure that we identify the higher low that comes in after the sweep of liquidity, generating an area of interest off of that higher low, extending that over to the right-hand side, and then patiently waiting for price to come back down into that area of interest to then potentially be a buyer from, based off the ideology that this is the area where market makers bought from in the past. And we know that market makers like to piggyback off of previous market maker orders. So this is what we're looking for during today's trading session. So let's see if we can find that. Okay. So lower time frame, again, London session areas of interest. Where can we see this pattern? Well, we see it in two areas. Now, remember the higher low that comes in after the liquidity grab, we want to see that price action break previous bearish market structure. So here is the first area where during London session, you guys can see a manipulative low. A sweep of that low comes in right here with this little tiny fractal wick. And then we see the market create a higher low that leads to bullish order flow or bullish market structure that completely matches all of this bearish price action. Again, here's that higher low. Let's change this template real fast. We'll extend that over, and you guys can see that this higher low that came in after all of this bearish price action and this manipulative move right here created this entire bullish leg that completely matched all of this bearish momentum, right? So now we know, again, based off of previous analysis, that the market makers are continuously pushing price higher after buying from a discount. So this was the first area of interest that we had set in place for ourselves during today's New York session, where we were saying, okay, check this out. If the market makers push price down into a discount, again, where a London session is buying from, we know that on the higher time frame, the 15-minute and the hourly price is bullish. Well, we are going to continuously be buyers if the market comes down into these areas. And I'll show you guys the analysis I sent to the students here in just 1 second. Actually, you know what? We might as well pause right here. Let's go over that as well, just to show you guys that we give the analysis to the students ahead of the curve. So here, I sent this analysis on April 9th, 10:24 p.m. Okay, so just to show you guys where that analysis was sent out to the students, let's clear all this up now that you guys have that, right? 10:24 p.m. was roughly right here, California time. So when price action was here, I sent this analysis. So let's pay attention to detail with the analysis that I gave to the CYPRX students, again, ahead of the curve, letting them know what I'm thinking price action is going to do and how they could potentially react accordingly. So I said, bullish targets if price can hold above the 164.500 with bullish momentum, I will be eyeing the 166.00 psychological level. If at any time bulls fail to hold above the 164.500 and we see bears pick up, the first level we need to see price hold bullish above is the 163.800. Let's go over to the charts and see how that played out. Again, remember this arrow right here. I'll go ahead and I'll draw a circle on for you all. This general area of price action right here is when I sent that analysis out to the students. We'll look at this price action again. I said to the students, if we do see bears pick up, we need to see price hold above the 163.800 psychological level. Here's that psych level right here. And look what price did. It dumped straight into this general vicinity. Again, what was London session doing? Utilizing the methodologies that we teach. They were buying at a discount. Look at London session. They were buying at a discount from where Asia session bought from. This is where Asia session bought from. This is where London session bought from. I guarantee you, utilizing the methodologies that I'm attempting to teach you guys, if you're still here, pay attention. Where was London session buying from? At the higher lows that came in after Asia session manipulated price. Let's go in and show you. Okay, so here you guys can see that same exact pattern. Check this out. Let's go ahead and delete this, delete this. Here's that low manipulated into the market. Here's a sweep of that low. And here is the higher low that comes in during Asia session that takes price higher, breaking all previous bearish market structure. Here's that bearish market structure. Here's the higher low that takes price higher, creating new fractal highs in the market. So if you were a London session trader reading my analysis where I sent out to the students at this yellow circle, all you could have done is highlighted this higher low that came in after the manipulative tactic, extend that over to the right-hand side, and boom. You guys can see the market makers sent price down into the area of interest. London session, what were they doing? Buying at a discount from where Asia session bought from. So to continue that trend, again, utilizing the same methodologies, now we have one area of interest where we could be buyers from during this New York session. Let's now show you all how we generated our second area of interest, okay? Utilizing the same tactics. Here you guys can see a higher low in the market. Here you guys can see a manipulative move that comes and sweeps that low. Here, you all can see a higher low that comes in after a sweep of that previous engineered low in the market. We then enter into our manipulative region where here at CYPRX, we attempt to sit patiently and wait and sit on our hands. Now pay attention to detail, what I've been attempting to teach you guys. What does this higher low do and why does it hold significance as to a potential area of interest where we could be a buyer from if price comes back down into this area? What did it do? Again, this is the higher low that was generated after the manipulative move that did what? It took price higher, breaking all previous bearish market structure and creating a new high in the market. So now we have two well-defined areas of interest where we can say, if the market comes down into these areas, we have higher time frame confluences on the hourly and the 15-minute presenting bullish order flow or bullish price action. On the fractal nature of things, we're seeing that the market makers are manipulating lows, creating higher lows in the market, which is consistently driving price to new highs. If we want to be buyers to follow or catch this trend, we need to be buying at a discount. I've told you guys, paying attention to where price action was at when I woke up this morning, originally at about 5 a.m., you guys can see price action was operating at a high. So simply all I did, by understanding how the market makers work, they are going to want to buy at a discount from where previous market makers bought from. I generated those two areas of interest. I know that market makers are not going to buy from a high. They're going to manipulate price. And boom, what do we see? They drop price straight down into a discount. Now is where we can utilize our Fibonacci tool. Remember, the Fibonacci tool is a tool that generates where potential discount and premium prices are going to be at. They're not some projection tool that's going to guess where price action is going for you all. They're a tool to give you a display, a representation of where discounted price is going to be. So highlighting from this higher low that took price higher, breaking all previous market structure and extending that over, you guys can see where I was being a buyer at during this morning's New York session trade. roughly at around 70 to 79%. That sweet spot that I like to tell you guys that the banking institutions like to facilitate buy orders at in the form of discount or premium when they're selling, okay, based off of where previous market institutions either bought or sold from. And you guys can see how that trade came into fruition. I mentioned to you guys in this morning's recording that I was looking for these equal highs to be taken out on the lower time frame. That trade is now fully coming to fruition. Now, I know that this trade breakdown is just scratching the surface. If you all want a full analysis, technical and psychological breakdown of how we analyze the markets here at CYPRX, our full in-depth strategy, remember that link is in the description down below. You all can always feel free to reach out to me via our customer support at CYPRXtrading.com email, which can also be found in the description below. If you all want to schedule a Zoom call with me and ask any questions before enrolling in our program, you're more than welcome to do so. As always, hopefully you all took some key notes away from this, which is, let's just revert back to what it is that we talked about here. Paying attention to detail, understanding to trade with the order flow of the market makers, not fighting against them and attempting to trade scalp positions, trading against the order flow of the market, okay? Setting up yourselves areas of interest and waiting for price action to come into those areas and actually knowing how to set up areas of interest. This has nothing to do with order blocks, as you all can see. This has nothing to do with gaps or imbalances in the market. This is solely just naked price action, okay? Understanding how to avoid manipulation, understanding that the market makers are not going to buy from highs or sell from lows, and then understanding where the market makers are going to buy from in the form of discounted or premium prices. All right. Many blessings to you guys. As you all see, sending the analysis out to the students multiple times, not only once with this analysis here, but also with this analysis here. Being very transparent with the students. If you all want access to this, again, you have to be enrolled in our private mentorship program. As always, many blessings to you all. Be cognizant, be aware, and I will see you all in the next video breakdown.